red horse ready to spring from the traps. Sam knew that no one could fail to be impressed by its grandeur and size. It was as if the forces of evolution had sought to create in the polar woolly mammoth the largest and most beautiful creature ever. But there were no gasps of awe. The crowd had fallen silent. They were stunned and shocked, not delighted. Something was wrong. Sam started to feel sick in his stomach, like the day before a big exam. He turned to follow the anxious gaze of his audience. The polar woolly mammoth had been extinct for 10,000 years, and the body of this one had been lying under the ice cap for almost all that time. It now stood at the centre of the New York Natural History Museum, in a beautiful recreation of its original habitat. So Sam was as surprised as everyone else to see 4 fresh mammoth poos splatting onto the floor. Plop, 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 plop. One of the schoolchildren started to giggle, and a wave of laughter spread across the hall. Polly's class of kids were clapping with delight, loving the joke that they thought was being played on them. The director of the museum turned to Sam with a face like thunder. "Is this your idea of a practical joke?" No, Sam stuttered. He was as surprised as everyone else. The mammoth was dead. He'd found it buried under 100 metres of solid ice. It was so dead, no one could even remember a time it had existed. Then the mammoth let out an enormous roar, and the hall erupted into chaos and screams and scuffling feet. The largest mammoth ever discovered had come back to life. All around the grand hall, people were leaping from their seats and running to the back of the hall. The giggles had turned into tears. This was very real, very scary, and very wrong. Sam could see the news crews broadcasting the pandemonium, jabbering excitedly as the cameras swung between the slowly waking mammoth and the stampede of people in the hall behind them. Sam started to speak into the microphone. "Please stay calm. This isn't unusual. This room is very hot and the mammoth has been frozen for quite some time. We can put this down to environmental factors. Gas being released. It's nothing to worry about at all." Nobody was listening. As the world watched live on television, the only known polar woolly mammoth ripped its feet from the podium, very much alive and very annoyed at being tied down.